Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about something most dermatologists probably wouldn't do, and I'm going to tell you all about my experience getting a tattoo. Let's get to it. Alright guys, so I got a tattoo, and now that's something that most dermatologists probably wouldn't do. In fact, a lot of times dermatologists are there to do laser tattoo removal when somebody wants to get rid of the tattoo that they have. So I want to talk about my experience getting a tattoo, where I went, why I did it, and then how I cared for my tattoo. So first up, why? My friend Dr. Bonasali is a dermatologist in New York City. It's Hudson Dermatology and Laser Center, and he is one of the premier dermatologists in the country, in my opinion, and he is a leader in so many areas. One that I have used quite a bit in my own practice is a service called Skin Medicinals and Hair Stem, and this is an online compounding pharmacy, and he has really helped be a pioneer to develop the tech, and the reason is to help decrease the cost of medication for patients by giving them access to affordable compounded medications that work just as well as brand name medications. Dr. Bonasali is a pioneer in so many different areas of medicine, and he is the medical advisor to this tattoo startup called Ephemeral Tattoo, and currently they're only based in Williamsburg or Brooklyn, New York. Ephemeral started with a mission to create a made-to-fade tattoo. That means it's not a permanent tattoo. It's a type of tattoo where the ink is biodegradable, and you can get a tattoo, and they have developed an ink that lasts about a year. So they call it a made-to-fade tattoo. It may start to fade as early as 9 months. It may last up to 13 to 15 months, just depending on where on the body you get it, the sun exposure, an area of friction or not. There's many factors that can go into it. But I had lots of conversations with Dr. Bonasali about many different things, and I learned about this tattoo startup. And of course, I've thought about getting a tattoo before, but it's not something I really think that I would ever do. But this presented a new opportunity to learn about a technology that has been developed, to teach you guys about it as well, because I think this is a really viable option if you're interested in getting a tattoo, but maybe it's not something that you're sure you want to keep forever, or you might want to get it removed at some point and you don't want to go through laser tattoo removal. So I think that this is a really innovative solution to get a tattoo, to try it out, and if you don't want to keep it forever, you're not going to. So I want to talk about my process of getting a tattoo. So I was put in touch with the Ephemeral Tattoo team and had some back and forth, and they gave me some tips and tricks to prepare for my tattoo appointment, and we talked about where on the body I'd like to get a tattoo and what my design might look like. I filled out a design survey, and I was booked for an appointment at their office in Williamsburg, and as part of that design survey, I got to submit artwork and different things that would serve as inspiration for the type of design that I would get. So, of course, I had to try to get a design that would be unique to me, personal to me, but also would tie into my social media and everything that I'm passionate about educating you guys about. So of course the tattoo reveal is coming here at the end, here on the inside of my arm. So first up, when I showed up to Ephemeral Tattoo, I had a great experience. It was very clean, very nice looking building, location, and walked in and was immediately greeted, and it was just a beautiful tattoo studio, offered water, and then I got to sit down and have a little bit of an educational session with the receptionist where they talked about what to expect while I was getting the tattoo, what to expect afterwards, how to care for it. They gave me some of that information. And of course we, signed the consent form and all of that kind of stuff, kind of acknowledging what I was in for, that it wasn't going to last forever, but it could start to fade as early as 9 months, that there was no guarantee, which day it would stop looking perfectly crisp. So I went through all of that, very clear, concise information, and really helped put me at ease for what I was going to do. The next step in getting the tattoo was meeting with my artist, and I met with Gusti, and Gusti has been a tattoo artist for about 10 years, and he kind of walked me through the designs that he had created, and he showed them to me on his Microsoft Surface tablet, and we went through and kind of flipped through different iterations that he had come up with. And as I looked at them, I was able to give input and take things out, put them in, really quite a slick system. And ultimately, I was able to make a decision as to which one of the renditions that I wanted to get on my skin. And then we talked about where I was going to put it on my body. Now, when I came into the tattoo session, I wanted to get it on the outside of my arm. I was going to put it over my deltoid. I thought that that would be a good location that would hide well from patients when I wanted to have it covered up, but it would be seen when I wanted to show it, like at the gym or something like that, and it'd be easy just to show it to people who were asking. After looking at my skin there, Gusti recommended that we don't do it on my shoulder because it was a little bit more rounded. I'm going to take that as a compliment that I'm growing good shoulders as I'm in the gym. He recommended doing it on a flatter surface of the body, and his recommendation was actually to do it on the inside of one of my arms because it's a little bit nicer, flat surface. It makes his job easier and gives me more of a guarantee that the ink is going to take up and look really, really good. So after some consideration, I decided not to do it on the inside of my forearm. I thought that would be a more difficult time to cover it up, and I didn't really want to be showing a tattoo to all of my patients. I just didn't think it was professional or the image that I wanted to show off, even though the tattoo I think looks really good. It's just not a conversation I wanted to have with a lot of my patients. So ultimately, I decided to put it on the inside of my arm up here. It does hide well underneath my scrubs. It's usually tucked in there and something that most people won't see unless I really want to show it to them. Once we decided on the design and the location, Gusti printed out the tattoo in a temporary tattoo type of paper in different sizes, and we picked them up and we placed them on my skin and tried to decide which size was going to work well and look the best. And we ended up going with the bigger size versus the smaller size just because it fit well on my arm. Once all those decisions were made, he actually applied it just like a temporary tattoo, using the paper on my skin and then some moisture to let it sit, peel off the paper, and I had the design set on my skin, ready for him to trace over with the tattoo needle. I laid down on the table just like you would if you were getting any other tattoo. The area was cleaned a couple of times with an antiseptic solution to make sure that the tattoo needle wasn't going to introduce any bacteria or anything else that could cause me harm. After everything was cleaned up, he was ready to go, and the big difference was the type of ink that he was using. Rather than a traditional tattoo ink poured out of a bottle, this was an individual use vial prepared in a sterile solution with this special biodegradable ink. Once I was then in position on the table, he went ahead and started with the line work, and I would say that the experience was just like getting any other tattoo. Even though I don't have any other tattoos, it uses a needle that goes in the skin, multiple little needles as the machine goes around. I was definitely worried about the pain that I would experience going into it. In fact, I asked if I could use numbing cream in advance, and I was told that was a big no because it could impact the way the ink takes up into the skin. So I just had to tough it out. And overall, I found it wasn't nearly as painful as I had anticipated. I would say that there were certainly areas where the pain would get up to maybe a 5, 6, 7, but most of the time it was around a 2 or a 3 and really very tolerable. Every time it started to get a little bit spicy or a little bit intense, he was usually pulling the needle off to get more ink, and the pain dissipated almost immediately. During the course of getting a tattoo, we were able to talk and converse back and forth. I went live on Instagram. I went live on TikTok. Some of you may have been able to pick that up and join in and ask questions. But ultimately, the whole experience took just less than an hour to get the tattoo. Then, of course, everything was cleaned up nicely. And then I went through my aftercare instructions with the team where they told me how to take care of the tattoo, what we were going to put on it, and then how I would care for it after I went home.
For healing time, for like 2 to 3 weeks after you take off your patch, if you see any like dryness or flakiness, it's completely normal.
So for initial aftercare, we put on a Duoderm patch. Duoderm is like a great big hydrocolloid bandage. It sits over the entire tattoo, and of course after a tattoo, that's a lot of trauma to the skin, and you have tiny little holes, and so your body has fluid and serum that leaks out of there and carries a little bit of that ink with it that's stuck on the surface of the skin. And so over the course of a couple of days that I had that Duoderm patch on, it actually had fluid build up underneath it that was kind of a blackish, greenish tint to it, and that's totally normal with the serum that comes out of it, the swelling that's associated with getting a tattoo. But then I peeled that off, cleaned everything up with a soap that is fragrance-free and that is dye-free, just a very gentle soap. Pat dry, and then I applied another Duoderm patch for an additional 2 days, and then did that again for an additional 2 days. Now I'm at the point where I don't have to wear a Duoderm patch, but instead I'm just cleaning daily with the fragrance-free soap, and then I'm applying a Vanapply moisturizer several times a day. I do like Vanapply, and I'm glad that they gave that to me at the tattoo studio because it's fragrance-free, dye-free, it's free of many common allergens, so it's really one of the safest moisturizers, and I recommend it pretty frequently to my patients in the clinic. Vanapply lotion, Vanapply cream, Vanapply ointment, all really good options for sensitive skin. And of course, after getting a tattoo, your skin is primed to be more sensitive, so you do have to be very careful about what you put on. You don't want to cause a lot of irritation. You don't want to cause a lot of inflammation, because that could impact the way that your tattoo settles in, as that ink kind of finishes intercalating into the tissue, gets picked up by macrophages and other white blood cells, and that's how it gets stuck in the skin. So of course, now about the tattoo design itself. I went back and forth around a lot of different designs as to what I was going to get. If you've been following me on social media for a while, you know that I did a temporary tattoo in a TikTok video across my forearm for something called Avogadro's number. If you've taken chemistry, you've probably heard of that term. Avogadro's number is a large number, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd power. And essentially what it is it's the number of molecules of a substance that make up 1 mole of that substance, and it's really helpful for chemistry, math, and equations, and it's been a long time since I've taken chemistry. But the gist of it is that it's a number most people won't recognize, and then they would ask me, and this is what I did the TikTok video on, like, what is that on your arm? And I would then be able to say, it's a mole. And it's a really, really good commitment to a dad joke. Really a nerdy, terrible joke, but I thought it was pretty funny, and I had several patients that thought it was funny. And I really contemplated hard about doing my ephemeral tattoo as Avogadro's number and striking up that conversation whenever somebody saw it and asked. But ultimately, I decided not to do that. Of course, you guys know that I love sunscreen. I advocate for it all the time on social media. And I wanted to somehow incorporate sunscreen into the design. And I started to think back about like the classic tattoos, what is recognizable. Many people have seen tattoos similar to this, and I thought, what's more iconic or recognizable than the mom tattoo? You know, the heart with mom through it. Maybe there's an arrow, maybe there's flowers, whatever it is, but just simple, a heart with mom on the inside. A lot of sailors would get that before they went into the Navy. So I decided to put a little bit of a twist on that. And I do love my mother very much. She's been instrumental in shaping me to the person that I am today. But I also love sunscreen quite a bit. And of course, this tattoo is not going to be there forever. So I put a twist on the iconic mom tattoo, and I went with a heart. And instead of mom, I put SPF on the inside. So I don't know if you can see that there in the camera, but I'm also going to put a close-up photo there. So I've got SPF inside the heart with some flowers around. It looks great at this point. I am 8 days after getting the tattoo, and things are feeling really good, and I'm excited to see how everything just settles down nicely and what it looks like over the next several months. I'm going to post photos on my Instagram, and I'll probably do follow-up videos and kind of show you guys what the tattoo is looking like in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And then as things start to fade, you can see. If you're interested in getting an ephemeral tattoo, you certainly can do that. Right now, they're only in Williamsburg, in that Brooklyn area of New York City, but they are coming to LA in just the next couple of months, really. And then there's going to be studios popping up elsewhere in the country. And of course, right now they only have black ink that has been developed in this special biodegradable technology. So they are coming out with colored ink, and that's going to be, I don't know what the timeline is on that, but ultimately, you're going to have a lot of options in this tattoo style. As far as price goes, they're pretty similarly priced to getting a traditional tattoo. I was told that my particular tattoo, with the amount of line work that I had, would probably cost in the neighborhood of $400, but yours may be different depending on the design that's formulated, and of course, they have the right to change their prices at any time. Mine was just a rough estimate and not an official quote, so don't hold them to that in any way. In no way is this video sponsored by Ephemeral, but I did have a great experience with them and just wanted to share what that experience was like for you, doing this for social media and just out of personal curiosity of what it was like to get a tattoo, what it would look like on my skin, and of course, the luxury that it will fade away. I don't have to go through laser tattoo removal, the expense of that, the pain of that. So that was my experience getting an ephemeral tattoo. I definitely would recommend it if you're interested in getting a tattoo, but maybe not sure you want it there forever. Ephemeral created not only a beautiful looking tattoo with a great artist, but they really created a whole experience. I loved that I was getting emails in advance of my appointment to instruct me how to prepare, what to bring with me, what not to bring. And of course, almost every other day after getting the tattoo, I'm getting automatic follow-up emails reminding me when it's time to change the bandage, how to care for my tattoo, how to contact them if I have any questions or if I have any concerns about the way that I'm healing. So overall, highly recommend Ephemeral Tattoo. If you're interested, I'm going to drop the links to Ephemeral Tattoo down in the description of the video, so you can follow them on social media, you can reach out to them, you can book your own appointment if you want to. So that's my experience. Let me know what you have questions about in the process of getting a tattoo or anything else regarding my Ephemeral Tattoo experience. Thanks for following along. I look forward to seeing you next time.